MedTech Conference live in Toronto, not Mars yet, but I'm super excited. We have Juliana here, so it's awesome to have you here. Randy, my co-host. So Juliana, tell me about yourself and your company, your device. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you for asking. So my name is Juliana Elstad. I'm CEO of Vibrato Medical. We are an innovative medical device company. We are developing a new treatment for patients with peripheral arterial disease, so vascular space. It's a big disease and really strong clinical need. Right now, the standard of care for advanced PAD, which is called chronic limb-threatening ischemia, interventions. And what we do, we're developing a therapeutic ultrasound device. So something that could produce the same results as interventions, prevents amputation, improves patients' quality of life, reduces pain, helps the wounds heal faster. And we do all of that non-invasively with the ultrasound that is above the diagnostic level. So it's not diagnostic ultrasound, but it's therapeutic ultrasound. It doesn't damage anything, but it provides the bio effect.
This is awesome. So obviously you didn't just wake up one day and I'm going to do this. Tell us about you as an individual, like how you got into this.
So I've been in medical devices for over 20 years, but I didn't start there. I started my career as a financial auditor and then consultant with McKinsey, and then I realized I really want to specialize in an industry. And I thought really hard about what industry I want to really devote my career to. My parents are both engineers. I grew up with a sister who had a chronic disease. So when I really looked deep inside me, like what motivates me, what do I want to do in my life, that kind of brought it to the medical technology.
So how long have you been in business, your company?
So I've been with this company for 3.5 years.
Okay, awesome. And so what I would love to know, it's all about patients. It's all about improved outcomes. So to a patient or family, obviously you've been inspired by your own journey with your family. Tell us about that, your device, and how that really impacts moving the needle, making lives better.
So, as people age, it's very common for them that their arteries have calcium built up and have arterial disease. Over 200 million people worldwide have it, 18 to 20 million in the US, depends on which publication you look at. And what happens is that if patients have this disease, and it's a progressive disease, so it ultimately leads to pain in the legs. And this pain is when walking, but also when you're like at rest. If patient has a wound, that wound doesn't heal because there is not enough blood flow to the legs, right? Which leads to gangrene, infections, gangrene, and ultimately amputation. About 20% of people who have advanced PAD, peripheral arterial disease, get amputation within a year.
Wow.
It's a pretty big impact.
Yeah.
So let me clarify. You can use ultrasound to get a picture of what's going inside the body. But you can also just use it kind of like shake something and get stuff to come loose. And
so we, ultrasound has a lot of parameters. So there is diagnostic ultrasound where you use very low power ultrasound. But then you can do higher power ultrasound, called therapeutic ultrasound. So the ultrasound is a mechanical waveform, and as it goes to the body, especially right now, I think there is a wave of different therapeutic ultrasound technologies for different parts of the bodies and diseases, but specifically therapeutic ultrasound in vascular space. What it does, it dilates the vessels through molecular biology mechanism. And also, as shown in animal studies, if used for the period of several weeks, it promotes new vessel growth. So if you think about it, patients with the disease that I described, right, they don't have good blood flow to their legs, right? And what we do is that we dilate the vessels and they do get that blood flow that they need.
so it sounds like, similar to like sort of neurostimulation, neuromodulation. This is a technology, a medical technology that's on the rise and probably we should expect to see more applications of.
Yes, exactly. And there is therapeutic ultrasound for neuromodulation too. Like I'm actually on the advisory board for
ultrasound for neuro. Okay.
Yeah, I'm on the advisory board for one of the for the university, and what they do is they use therapeutic ultrasound in the brain to produce neuromodulation effect
Okay.
and treat addiction, treat Alzheimer's.
So as opposed to actually applying electricity, they're stimulating it through external motion.
Yeah, the beauty of ultrasound is that of therapeutic ultrasound is that it's completely non-invasive. Like with our technology, I don't even need to do a simple skin incision. It's all external.
All right, so only like 60% joking here, but like, those chairs you can go into, they're like the massage chairs that shake you. Is there potential for a consumer-facing app that actually replaces that with ultrasound, to kind of like a whole body ultrasound jiggle?
No, not really.
Not yet? Okay.
Well, it depends what you want, right?
This is why nobody comes to me for startup ideas.
So when you think about ultrasound, right? So ultrasound travels differently through different things, right? So air is not very good for ultrasound. Bone is not very good. So, right, so again, you really need to think what you want to solve. And then the type of ultrasound depends on where you're in the body, what are you trying to achieve, will be slightly different.
It's a little more complicated than that. Okay. So, all right. So
just a little bit.
Let's ask you one more general question. So you're a board member for AdvaMed as an organization and Onyxel as well. Okay. You've been very involved for a while. You're at this conference. There's probably some MedTech companies out there that know of AdvaMed but aren't members. What's the value for MedTech companies, particularly probably ones that are newer and aren't as familiar with the industry or AdvaMed? Why should they be here? Why should they be getting engaged in AdvaMed? What's in it for them? What's their whiff on?
Yeah. So first of all, AdvaMed is the largest trade association for medical device companies. So it's the organization that represents one voice for the industry. Here we are, medical technology is very regulated. Healthcare is the second regulated industry in the world after nuclear weapons, right? So nuclear energy. So, with that, regulators, relationship with FDA, relationship with Medicare are extremely important. And as AdvaMed is an organization that provides the voice, the perspective of the industry, I think it's important that innovative companies are part of that discussion and that their views are presented as well. So that's one thing. The other thing, I think it's a fantastic networking opportunity. Here at the conference, you can get access to a lot of people that I would not really get access to. CEO of every major medical device company is here, and you can talk to them as I'm talking to you, Kevin Lobos, CEO of Stryker, is here, and we just had a nice conversation last night, right? There are many, Mike Mahoney, CEO of Boston Scientific, is here, right? Yeah. And we chatted a little bit with him. Those relationships really matter as we go develop technologies and want to partner with larger companies potentially down the line.
So I think the policy part of shaping regulation is really interesting, but I think for a lot of people, it's still vague, oh yeah, I can help, but it's the government. I can't, it's very indirect. Do you have any examples of specific things that you or somebody else have worked on where they've actually engaged and then as a result seen policy shaped in a way that's helped their company, that they've helped inform it?
So policy works takes time. With that disclaimer, I think innovative companies, we used, if you look 15, 20 years ago, relationship between industry and FDA were not very smooth because there was a lot of misunderstandings, right? And for innovative companies, it was really difficult to get their products approved. I think right now that relationship is much, much, much better. And again, cannot say for every company, everyone's experience is different, but on average, it did improve. And why? Because there are discussions, because FDA said yes, we want to have innovative companies. We want Americans to have access to the most innovative medical technologies, right? And we had a common goal, right? Like the industry wanted to bring innovation and FDA wanted to bring innovation. And we all wanted to do it in a safe way with, that is effective, that has evidence, right? And so from that, we were able to walk out some differences. There were we pushed to make FDA accountable. There were some metrics installed, like, FDA tracks how long it takes from your application to the decision. And they report by type, by 510K, de novo, or PMA, 3 types of regulatory paths. How long did it take for FDA to review things? And things started to move faster. Right now, we are working primarily, there are many things that AdvaMed works on, but for innovative companies, reimbursement, right? Like, yes, we got to FDA approval. How do we get paid for the technologies? And that process right now, people call it a valley of death because the study said it takes 5.7 years on average after FDA approval to the decision by Medicare. And so right now we are working on a specific legislation, Bill 1691, breakthrough legislation that says, okay, for critical innovative technologies that got breakthrough status, how about we give them faster path to reimbursement, at least for a period of 4 years, while we can still, work the details for the permanent reimbursement.
This is why you come on and listen to Planetary Health First Live MedTech, $69.91.
1691.
Yeah. You heard it today. This is amazing. I mean,
great. So I'm still ruminating on 5.7 years because I think like Tom Cruise can do a Mission Impossible movie, with a hundreds of millions of dollar budget, a lot faster than that. So.
But if you think about, again, and that is why it's important to have a partnership, right, between industry and Medicare. Like CMS does not have a lot of resources to review the new applications for reimbursement, right? Like we think it's a huge organization. They spend a lot of money for reimbursement, but the division that looks at, new technologies is not very big. And they, there are some constraints that they have in terms of their resources that we also try to work and advocate for them.
Well, thank you for coming out. We appreciate your time. Great to have you. Great to hear about your company.
Yeah, thank you
We're
so
rooting
much
for
for
you.
having. Okay, thank you.
yes. Thank you so much, Juliana. This has been awesome.